Welcome back to another video, GPT traders. This time we're looking at Bitcoin. Not a lot has been happening, which is why we're on the 15 minutes. People may be getting excited that we're seeing a bit of a pump. See a nice little impulse there. We've seen one here, What happened? Price broke to the downside. This, however, could be the start of something. I'll tell you why. So currently, like I said, 15 minutes. Why could this be of interest? Let's look at the lows at the moment. So we got our first low there. We got our high here. So we can clearly see it's trading in a range, right? But as price was moving pretty much sideways along here, the first sign of life was this one. And this was particularly important because it did break this price point, the candles. And then what was even more exciting, it went on to break this one, which is really good. So it's taken this zone, it's taken that zone, and now it's gone up to the earlier high. And price is stalling as we speak right now. So there is a bit of a pump on. You cannot deny that. It's actually happening. After maybe 24, 48, maybe in 36 hours of sideways action, it's been pretty dead. However, this is on the 15-minute time frame. Let me zoom out a little bit. Let's see where some of our levels and ranges are. This one still is true and looks good. So if price can stay above here, then this is an area that is of particular interest. You can see how far it goes back. Last week, Friday, few days. We're only Tuesday at the moment, so it's interesting to see how the week is being played out. Now, do we go short or do we go long? Right now, I'm out of the market. There are some trade updates that we did put out there, and we will be giving you an update. We're going to let those go. We're going to keep them open because they haven't stopped out. And if they do, they do. If not, from a technical perspective, they are still valid. But we thought we'd put out a video on Bitcoin. 15 minutes. Let me zoom out to a daily time frame to see where we actually are. So when looking at the daily time frame, it doesn't look as half as dramatic as it did on the 15 minutes. Now, this is why we're not that keen to get excited at this point in time. If I do extend this out, as I was showing on the smaller time frame, we can see that there has been a lot of price action in and around this axis. Yeah, we did see a good pump up. We saw a retracement, and now we see some consolidation. If it can stay above this line, this is good. The next zone of interest is here. If it stays above this line, then happy days will go to the top, or at the very least be aiming for this zone. Now, if you're an aggressive trader, you can most certainly be looking at where price action is here in terms of if it captures and stays above this support, then a trade into this zone is highly valid. It's a valid trade setup depending on your support and resistance and your risk and reward. My big concern is, however, is this massive volume gap underneath. So if we look here, we're seeing a huge void all the way back down to here, even here, or maybe even here, which is around the 25,000 mark. Now, I'm not very comfortable with that, which is why I want to see price stay above the zones that we've drawn out. Even here to here may be risky. I will measure it out to see what type of percentage move we can get. But ideally, from a trade setup perspective, we want to see side action here before going up and then going for these zones. But the main worry is if one was to short it, this is ideal setup for a short, to be honest. If price is actually going as expected, maybe up to there, all the way down to here, that's a 1 to 4. or even over, and then that's a conservative target, and then down to where we expect price could run up to, that's a 1 to 5 trade setup. So if you're going short, that's potentially the setup that we're looking for and waiting on. But to me, price is not doing anything. I would like to see it break down below here. Let's draw this out for you. I would potentially like to see a breakdown here, maybe consolidate here for a bit, and then confirm the low down to here. If that is the case, then what we're looking at from a target perspective is yes, a later entry, but it's more of a confirmed entry, and we can keep a good stop loss distance and still get 1 to 4 there, but we'll have the confirmation on our side with the stop loss there. You can take a smaller entry here with a reduced position size, like we did in one of our other previous trades, and then you could ladder in if that's what you wanted to do. This is also a valid, very valid trade setup. Right now, I'm not comfortable in going long or short, especially with Bitcoin. Bitcoin will drive the cryptocurrency markets, so just currently observing where and what price will do in this regard. Let's drop down to see what the potential zones are if we were going to go long. So let's draw it out here to say, okay, we feel that it's captured above that. We're going to take an aggressive entry and let us draw it onto this time frame and aim conservative into our original box. For me, already we can see that that's not a good risk to reward ratio, which is why I'm not comfortable in taking this long at all. If I were to bring this in up to here, again, that risk to reward is not favorable. If I were to do it here, then I'm not comfortable with that risk reward, because I think that price will want to retrace here, fill in this liquidity gap here before going long or short. So in this case, if we were going long, I would love to take an entry around here, and now that's looking a lot more favorable. 1 to 3, and then if we were going to aim to our zone, that's now looking at 1 to 4. So it's indecisive. It's indecisive. The trade could go either way. I would say if you're looking for shorts, then now is a good area to short. We have seen price react around this zone, and it is in a perfect zone to where it has recovered the liquidity here, the volume, and now could be coming back down to its merry ways. If that happens, then the whole market is going to react in terms of the altcoins. You could ladder it in, as I was saying before, and then with a greater view to actually dropping to the liquidity gap that we see going for our bigger run here. That's a 1 to 13 trade if you were to enter and hold it at the bottom. We don't know, it's a game of probabilities, and right now it's 50-50 in terms of where price could go, but from a risk to reward ratio, I've given you 2 options as to how you could want to play it, and you would risk 1 portion and you get 3 back if you're going to go long, but we wouldn't enter here, we would probably enter around this mid-range. If you're going to go short, now is probably a good time to go short. Just sharing this trade ideas with you. Like we said, we're sitting out of the market on this one until price tells us what it wants to do. But yeah, join in the discussion. The link is in the Discord. The link of the Discord is in the description. Join us. We'll see you on the inside.